All right, good morning, everybody. Back for another day of 10 of the trending articles in the crypto news space. Hope you got yourselves a big old cup of coffee so that way we can dive on into things. And always, there's a link down in the description where you can check out all these articles for yourself because you need to do your own research. Don't just listen to what talking heads like me will tell you. But hey, without further ado, let's hop on into number one. So, NEXO, some of you may have heard of it before. I've talked about it on this channel. I personally like it. I do hold some NEXO, so just being clear on that. And it also recently got in hot water because some of its employees allegedly got an article published that was very critical of Chainlink. So, it's had a little controversy in its past, but nothing too crazy. Unless you are a big fan of Chainlink, then you might not be too happy with it. But hey, so NEXO, which is a regulated digital asset-backed loan provider, is going to be paying out $6.1 million in dividends to its NEXO token holders on August the 15th. The payout marks a 154.32% increase on the dividend distribution in 2019 and comes against the backdrops of financial volatility and the uncertainty spurred by the COVID-19 pandemic. So yeah, looks like, I believe last year they released it on the 15th of August as well. And the year prior to that, they had only been around for a little bit, so they released an interim one in December, if I'm remembering correctly. So basically, every year or so, NEXO takes 30% of their profits and they distribute it to those people who hold their token. And it's split up a couple different ways. They've got a couple different incentive schemes. We're not going to get into that on this one, but NEXO, for those of you who don't know, is centralized. So it offers interest for people who want to lend their crypto, as opposed to a decentralized DeFi application that does so with a third party. I mean, that's got its benefits and drawbacks, a single point of failure versus a better user experience. And it's just a balance. If you're interested in earning interest on your idle crypto assets, and you have some in DeFi, this might be an alternative solution. Crypto.com is another really good solution for this. I'm not advertising one in either way. I'm not being compensated by either one. Just so you know, there are some options out there so that way you're not just sitting on your crypto, but that does involve you entrusting it either to a smart contract, which we'll get into here in a second on a DeFi platform, or a centralized company. So the company does distribute 30% of its net profits to those that hold and are staking NEXO's token. You have to hold it on NEXO's site. Anton Trenchnev, co-founder of NEXO, says, "Our profit this year unequivocally showcases NEXO's development and staunch resilience to what are perhaps the toughest market conditions since the 2007 economic crisis." Trenchev added that digital finance products will, in the very near future, bridge the gap between digital and mainstream finance. Although if DeFi hacks keep occurring, that future might not be as close as we all hope. So yeah, very good on NEXO. If you hold it like me, awesome. If you don't, hey, it's worth checking out. They've been around for a couple years now, and they've done right by me. They do, have insurance and back all their stuff up, so that way if a hack does happen, chances of you getting your money back are slightly higher than some of these other exchanges. But the bigger exchanges are pretty good about refunding nowadays. So the risks in holding your cryptocurrency assets on those platforms has decreased. But hey, this article mentioned a DeFi hack, and that's actually what article number 2 is about today. So a few hours ago, the Opyn, I believe that's how it's pronounced, DeFi platform discovered a vulnerability in one of its ETH put contracts, which enabled an attacker to make off with $371,000 worth of crypto assets. Yeesh. So the Ethereum-based decentralized insurance platform allows users to protect themselves from risk they may face in decentralized finance markets. Oops. It operates with an options protocol that allows DeFi users to create put and call options. In simple terms, a put option is a contract that gives the investor the right, but not the obligation, to sell an asset, whereas a call option gives the investor a right, but not the obligation, to buy at a specific price or at a specific time. So how they got hacked. It's kind of interesting. So, at the time that they posted on Twitter, or they put out an update, they found that 371,260 USDC coins have been stolen from these contracts, and this amount may change. So basically, the attackers started with flash loans to buy OETH from Uniswap to exercise. Then they reportedly chose an ERC20 token, or the USDC coin, as collateral and used the trading option. The double transfer just effectively pilfered it. So they basically did what's called a double exercise attack, and they used that to milk the system for a very substantial amount of money. So, being completely permissionless, Opyn couldn't shut down the platform, but they instead removed liquidity from its Ethereum put pools on Uniswap to prevent others from buying the O tokens, while removing the ability to buy Ethereum puts on its website. So, yeah. Because it's DeFi, they're not able to completely shut things down, but they were able to disable certain things on certain parts of their website to prevent it from happening while they work on a fix. So in a more recent tweet, Opyn promised to reimburse anyone that was affected by the attack. So good on them at the very least. Give them a little golf clap, that way, for those of you who lost money because of it, it's okay. You'll get it back. Timeline on that sucks, but at least you'll get it back. So the total value locked on the platform has plunged 40% since over the past 24 hours when all this came to light. It's currently just over 1 million. They don't have a native token on the site, so we can't really talk about their price either. But this is not the first time it's happened this year, and flash loans are have been exploited a couple different ways to net a tidy profit. And it's kind of in my opinion, it's more of a legal gray area because they just milked a flaw in the system as opposed to social engineering or straight up hacking, what we would traditionally think of hacking. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this $371,000. If the person was smart, they didn't leave it as a USDC coin for very long, because USDC can actually blacklist addresses and lock down coins. They do so very, very rarely, but they do have the ability to do so. We've talked about the potential issues that brings on this channel, but more than likely whoever did this swapped it into some Monero or some Zcash and is transferring it around, and then we'll make it into Bitcoin and then put that Bitcoin through a randomizer or whatever they're calling them nowadays to basically clean the crypto and eventually be able to buy a house with it. So lucky them, I guess, right? All right, moving on to number 3. So Litecoin plans cross-chain communication with Cardano and a huge update. It's a little bit of a clickbaity headline in my opinion. We'll get into it. So Litecoin's developer David Burkett confirms that a test network for Mimblewimble implementation is scheduled for September. We just talked about Mimblewimble. They didn't have a hard date, but they're saying September now, so just a month, not too bad. And IOHK CEO reveals a possible collaboration to develop a Cardano Lightchain interchain communication. I'll get to that one in a second. So, Mimblewimble is conceived as a feature that will improve the scalability of Litecoin's network using it's called the initial block download. So this will allow transactions to be verified only by checking the state of the chain. Therefore, Mimblewimble will have a different verification mechanism than Bitcoin. A miner will not need to download all the blocks on Litecoin to verify transactions. In that sense, Litecoin's developer reiterated that the initial state download is a more accurate verification mechanism in terms of sync process, especially compared to Bitcoin's verification method that requires all old blocks be downloaded from the blockchain. I actually like that. You don't need the past 10 years of the chain. You only need the past year, because you can safely assume that everything done in the past year has been settled, solved, and resolved by the network. I think that's fair. It allows you to more efficiently validate these transactions because you don't have to hold all that extra information on your computer, and I'm assuming it won't have to check back over all that transaction log just in a specific time frame, whatever that is. So that's pretty good. I like it. I think that's going to actually improve Litecoin's productivity a bit. Now, this possible interchain communication between Litecoin and Cardano, we actually talked about it, I want to say, back when this first popped up. So, old Charles Hoskinson, IOHK's CEO and creator of Cardano, revealed his intention to establish cooperation with the creator of Litecoin. The IOHK CEO said that there are many possible ideas to be discussed, and his message was answered with Lee by a sure. It remains to be seen if there will be an agreement and indeed the development of cross-chain communication between the cryptocurrencies. And they're citing a tweet from the 7th of July, so almost a full month ago. So yeah, I don't particularly care for the second half of this article, but learning a little bit more about Mimblewimble and when the date's going to come, I felt it was worth talking about. I'm excited to see what Litecoin can do. In September, they can release, the tests and all that fun stuff, and yeah, see how much it improves their speed. If Litecoin does this, it's actually something that personally I think you could possibly implement on Bitcoin's core platform if enough of the miners and the developers and all that fun stuff think it would be worthwhile. I think that's a good way of updating things without actually changing anything crazy in the protocol itself. But yeah, that's just me. But Bitcoin is getting pretty stable in terms of its development, so we'll see if that's even likely. All right. Well, hey, let's hop on over to next article. So, Ethereum 2.0 and EOS crossing swords over scalable supremacy. Okay. So, when the EOS network launched back in 2018, it looked to be one of the biggest contenders to Ethereum, not just in terms of providing a scalable development platform for decentralized apps, or dApps, but also in terms of a well-funded project with great support, one that could rival Ethereum as a second-ranked cryptocurrency. Yeah, didn't happen. Just didn't happen. EOS had a lot. It came out real strong, I'm not going to lie. And it looked really crazy there for a second, but it slumped, especially throughout the downtimes in the market. And to me, it doesn't seem to have, I want to say, increased at the level that Ethereum has, but that's not to count it out. So it's hard to argue it has toppled Ethereum, which houses 9 times more dApps on its platform, but it still does remain a top contender. It does have a superior throughput. It can facilitate over 700,000 transactions in 24 hours, which is about 20 times what Ethereum can do currently. But yeah, Ethereum has almost 3,000 dApps on the platform, which is 10 times what EOS has. However, it does seem that EOS still is second place in the system, so that's not horrible. It just shows the amazing dominance that Ethereum has. So scalability is the name of the game. So Ethereum's biggest problem has been the fact that it can't handle the level of transactions that it needs to. Currently can support around 30 transactions per second, which causes frequent network congestion and spiraling gas fees. Vitalik Buterin has indicated that Ethereum's 2.0 implementation will bring vast improvement, ultimately achieving 100,000 transactions per second with the help of sharding. However, the first phase of the Ethereum upgrade will happen by the end of summer 2020. The Medallia testnet is currently live, and while the first phase will happen, only the final phase, which was about 2 years away still, is going to implement sharding. So we've still got a way to go before it gets to this fabled and much talked about 100,000 transactions. In contrast, EOS was designed with scalability in mind, and it is achieved by enabling parallel transaction processing while keeping the numbers of block producers small to speed up throughput. So there is every chance that Ethereum could contend, and I put air quotes around that heavily because EOS isn't doing anything worth contention other than theoretically having a higher transaction speed. So this article, it's written by someone who's got to be a little pro EOS in my opinion, because it's very much weighted to Ethereum has to catch up, Ethereum has to do this, Ethereum has to do that. And Ethereum does need to do things so it can maintain its market dominance, but EOS is the one playing catch up. Ethereum has 10 times the amount of dApps. It has 50% more daily active users. and it has, again, 10 times more smart contracts on its platform. So EOS is the one who needs to, quote unquote, catch up. Now, once it gets to this point, it'll be much better at maintaining itself. So once it gets there, it will do a pretty good job. But I really dislike how this article is just like, yeah, EOS, got to do that, blah, blah, blah. But then again, I'm biased. I love Ethereum. I don't really like EOS. I'm just going to be honest about it. I don't really like it. That's not to say it can't make me change my mind or impress me. It's just Ethereum's number 2 for a reason, and EOS needs to do some changes so that way it becomes more of a destination as an alternative crypto market. Because my money's on Cardano coming in here and stealing the number 2 spot from EOS. Just my personal opinion. But hey, let's hop on over to number 5. So, Coinbase Wallet, a service of the largest crypto exchange in the US, is now supporting .crypto domains via an integration with blockchain domain provider Unstoppable. We actually talked about them a little bit ago. Gemini is doing the same exact thing. So, Coinbase users can now send payments to each other by simply typing a .crypto domain instead of using a long-form cryptographic address, that's nice. So Brad Kim, founder of Unstoppable Domain, says that the Coinbase Wallet is the first platform that will offer an all-in-one solution for all cryptos offered by the wallet. So, alongside featuring Unstoppable Domains powered domains, Coinbase Wallet will also offer custody support for the .crypto domains in the collectible section of its application. And the Winklevoss-founded Gemini Exchange has also rolled out custody for it. So pretty good for Brad Cam and Unstoppable Domains, locking down the .crypto market and getting integrated into 2 of the bigger exchanges in the United States. I mean, good on him. That's pretty darn good. It's definitely something to explore. I like the idea of people being able to type in a .crypto address instead of having to do those long-form addresses, which, while, QR codes and auto copy paste has definitely decreased the chances of a mistype or failing to, or accidentally sending crypto to the wrong wallet. It doesn't eliminate that, so having this .crypto could be pretty helpful. So, pretty cool, right? Alrighty, well that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're halfway there and living on a prayer. Alright, well hey, let's hop on over, talk about number 6. So, Ethereum transaction fees fall by 75% as congestion eases. Oh yeah. So, the cost of sending a transaction on Ethereum has plummeted today as congestion appears to finally be clearing up. According to ETH Gas Station, the average gas fee on Wednesday is between 30 and 40 gwei, which is 6 gwei, with a notable 6 gwei as the minimum to get a transaction confirmed in less than 30 minutes. This comes after a period of more than 2 months of elevated fees touching more than 140 gwei at times. Taking a standard Ethereum transaction as an example, the average cost of sending it came down from $1 to about 25 cents. This improvement is even more noticeable for DeFi people, where transactions could regularly consume up to 15 buckaroos. Now, Ethereum, based on this daily transaction chart, is still pretty darn high. Looks like January, February-ish of 2020, there's roughly 500,000 transactions in a day, versus now, even with this drop, they're still close to the $1,200,000 range. So while it is dropping, it's not dropping to the point that I personally would be worried. So, total gas usage and the number of token transfers have also decreased slightly, though seemingly less than the total transaction count, which could suggest that a decrease in DeFi transactions accounts for the majority of this relief. As Cointelegraph previously reported, Ethereum has a fairly elastic gas demand when prices are high. Lower value transactions in industries like blockchain gaming tend to decrease. So this could be just some of that elasticity come into play out, because even though it honestly didn't drop that much for its fees to fall by 75%, that's pretty nice. I am a big fan of how Ethereum does their transactions. You can you can put, a decent number of gwei into the tank and get your transaction approved faster if you want to prioritize it, or you can just let it go with the minimum and wait on things. But This downtrend, I'm sure people will be looking at it with some concern because they want all-time highs. They want the congestion because they think that means, any decrease on Ethereum is a bad sign and its bull run is coming to the end and blah, blah, blah. I think this is just a momentary thing. It's dipping, and we'll start to see a rise again here in the near future. And also this data doesn't even include today, so there's hard to tell if this is a trend that is forming or simply just a temporary easing of the network due to a large number of crazy things that we do not have time to get into and probably wouldn't even be able to figure out all of them. So, but hey, let's hop over to number 7. Old U.S. lawmakers, they're talking about proof of stake. So yeah, 4 lawmakers wrote a letter to the Internal Revenue Service Wednesday asking the U.S. tax agency to ensure stakers don't face tax liabilities for receiving block rewards before they sell their new tokens. That's pretty nice, actually. So the letter, which was dated July the 29th, was sent to the IRS Commissioner Charles Rettig, Chief Counsel Michael Desmond, and Assistant Secretary for Tax Policy David Cotter, and was signed by the Congressional Blockchain Caucus's co-chairs, Reps. David Schweikert, a Republican out of Arizona, Bill Foster, a Democrat out of Illinois, Tom Emmer, a Republican out of Minnesota, and Darren Soto, a Democrat out of Florida. So they actually, for those of you who are outside the U.S., the United States only has 2 major political parties, the Republicans and the Democrats, and they currently make up pretty much the entirety of both houses. There's only a few independents or non-Democrats and Republicans kicking around. So this is a pretty bipartisan effort, so good on them. So this caucus clarified staking rewards should be taxed appropriately. They're not saying don't tax them, they're just saying do it appropriately. We believe that taxpayers' true gains from these tokens should be indeed taxed. So each of these blocks from staking as a reward could be treated as an independent taxable event, meaning taxpayers could potentially have hundreds of taxable events, or if you've invested in multiple thousands, which would be a headache for both the taxpayer and the IRS. So treating staking as a source of income might cause issues for participants in the U.S., says Sutherland, who assisted in writing the letter. If the network grows 5% over a year, but an individual staker has seen the number of tokens they hold grow 6%, this does not mean the staker has a 6% gain. So there's just so many different variables, you got to keep an eye on it. So the IRS is yet to say how or when staking rewards should be taxed, but there are a few different positions as to how they can be. So technically speaking, staking income is similar to rental income because currencies are treated as property in the United States, but staking income could also be treated as interest because the rewards might look like interest payments, but Sutherland feels the appropriate approach to taxing stake rewards would be to treat it like new property. New property isn't taxed as income right away, it's taxed when it's sold. And the congressman agreed. So I like that idea. You don't get taxed on staking rewards when you earn them, but when you sell them. So you're only getting taxed once, so 1, you don't get double taxed, and because that definitely does feel like getting overtaxed. And 2, you don't have to worry about hundreds upon hundreds of transactions just when you take everything you've made and you sold it. You just have to worry about that one. And that will have its own drawbacks, I'm sure. But hopefully they can get a move on this, because as it stands with staking coming into its own, there's going to be a lot of issues for people like me come 2020 tax time, which is only 4 months away, as crazy as that sounds. So that'll do it for that. Let's hop on over to number 8. Oh yeah, Bitcoin is getting another moment. The United States is considering an inflation rise. So yeah, the feds could soon pursue a high inflation economy, and the stimulus would make alternative assets like Bitcoin and gold way more attractive. So yeah, the Federal Reserve will soon be drafting a policy outline that favors low interest rates and higher inflation as it pursues a return to pre-pandemic levels of economic activity. We'll see if that actually happens. So Ed Yardeni of sell-side consulting firm Yardeni Research told the outlet, "We believe the Fed would probably welcome an inflation range of 2 to 4% as a long overdue offset to inflation running below 2% for so long. The approach would be wildly bullish for alternative asset classes." So, Jameson Lopp, CTO of Bitcoin strategy company Casa, commented on the announcement of higher interest rates, stating, "The Fed is expected to make a major commitment to devaluing your money. What you gonna do about it?" I mean, yeah. So basically, this article, it just goes through like all these different like Twitter personalities, talking about excessive money printing and inflation and da 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 da. The argument is Bitcoin, as the halving rewards decline, is a long-term deflationary asset versus the monetary policy, which is inflationary, and with the historic amount of stimulus that the government has pumped into the economy, eventually the United States is going to experience higher inflation due to this. Right now, people are just using this money to pay their bills and maintain their lives, but once things eventually possibly maybe go back to normal and people start spending this money more and more and more, it's going to lead to inflation. And that will help Bitcoin because you'll see your Bitcoin equal what dollars are held. Also, this makes taking out loans a lot more attractive in fiat money, because if you take $20,000 and your interest rate on the loan is only 5 or 6%, but you know that inflation is going to be probably around 4%, you're essentially only having to pay 2% once you factor that in. So blah, 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 blah. Not a financial advisor, do your own research, all that fun stuff. Hey, let's hop over. So, India, this crypto ban thing just ain't going away. So, it's back in the limelight after Money Control reported a note that seeks to ban trade in cryptocurrency, citing an unnamed government official. On the condition of anonymity, the official explained that the Indian government has been holding consultations with the Law Ministry, the Ministry of Information and Technology, and the Reserve Bank of India on a framework for a law that will formally end cryptocurrency trading in India. Eesh, not great. However, crypto exchange executives over in India told news.bitcoin.com that a blanket ban is unlikely considering how much has developed since the crypto bill was submitted to the finance ministry last year. In addition, a recent DEA's reply to a right of information application suggested the government is not entirely happy with the existing bill. So the cryptocurrency industry in India has been growing substantially ever since their Supreme Court quashed the circular by the central bank that banned banks from providing services to crypto businesses. Local crypto exchanges have reported as much as 10 times trading volume growth and significant increase in the number of startups. So just to digest this for a minute, it sounds like they're pushing forward with a law for a blanket cryptocurrency ban. Now, what edits will be made by the time it hits the floor, I'm not sure, obviously, and will it pass is something that is even less sure at this point, because, that is a lot of money that is flowing into these crypto markets, and that means they're going to have more and more pull. So I could see some significant fight back on this bill, and I hope so. India, for whatever reason, is trying to ban these things instead of welcoming them and expanding on them, like China has done to a large extent. The United States seems to be working its way towards in its own way. I think this will only hold their country back and will hurt them in the long term, and eventually, if they do pass a law, it will get overturned in 5 to 10 years when they're so far behind that it's almost insane. So that's my opinion. But hey, to round things off, old Jack Dorsey, Square's CEO, picture up here is one of the, it's not a great picture of him. Anyways, so Square's Bitcoin business contributed to its rapid growth. Up 600% year over year. Dear Lord, good for Bitcoin, good for Square. So announced Tuesday, the San Francisco payments company said revenue made from selling Bitcoin to its Cash App customers in Q2 came to a total of $875 million, which is more than 6 times the amount in the same period last year. Square stresses it only makes a small margin selling Bitcoin, but Q2's results still made it $17 million in profit, which is up 711% year over year. Since Square first enabled Bitcoin buying through its Cash App back in November of 2017, it has grown to become a dominant part of the business. 17 million in pure profit. So By Q4 2019, Square's Bitcoin revenue reached 178 million, and then 306 million in Q1, 100 million more than the revenue generated from its fiat services. So they are really, really being able to fund a lot of their company based on this Bitcoin thing, which is pretty interesting. So, and it actually excludes Bitcoin revenue from its total figures, saying that incorporating something so volatile into its results could make it hard to gauge the company's overall performance, which is fair. So they're able to be like, here's how much we're profiting in traditional fiat currencies. Oh yeah, we made an extra like $17 million off Bitcoin. It's no big deal. But yeah, no, good for them, and it shows that demand is only increasing for Bitcoin, which is what we like to see on this channel and in the cryptocurrency space. So that does it for 10 of the trending articles in the crypto news space. If you've made it to this point, go ahead and subscribe, because I mean, why the heck not? It really does help out me and the channel. So yeah, let's hop in and talk about 10 of the top 10 cryptos, how they're doing today. Dear Lord. Bitcoin's up 3.73%. Nice. Ethereum's up 3%, getting real close to 400. Bitcoin 11,570. Let's see. XRP's back over the 30% range, up 2.5% on the day. Bitcoin Cash up 3.5%. Bitcoin SV 4.25%. Litecoin's up 3%. Cardano's up 2%. Binance Coin is up 6.3%, and Chainlink is flat at, well, it's up by 0.1%, but it is definitely sitting at $9.46, which is insanity to me. Yeah, and then, oh man, going through the top 20, everything, all the non-stable coins are in green. I'm just scrolling down right here. You got to get down to number 38. Old Digibyte down by just under 1%, down at 38, and then Elrond's down 2.3%. So yeah, very green day for all the cryptos. A good day. I hope everyone is having a great one. As always, links to everything discussed is down in the description, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.